If you've seen Elden Ring all the way through to the end, then first of all, congratulations on your achievements. That is no small feat for a game as challenging and massive as this one. You may also have some questions as to what it all means. Did I get the good ending or the bad ending? After scouring through countless item and enemy descriptions, lines of dialogue and so on, I think I have a pretty comprehensive picture of some of the mythos behind the world of Elden Ring and what its different outcomes signify. Today I want to talk about the Age of the Stars ending specifically, which is probably the most talked about because, well, first of all, we are finally maidenless, no more, and because out of all 6 endings, this one is probably the most ambiguous. Ranni's words as she brings forth her new age are as cryptic as they are uncertain. There's talk of fear, doubt, and loneliness, and a dark path, so what does she have in store for the lands between? Keep in mind that this is just my interpretation. It's very much possible that I've missed or misinterpreted certain things. The amount of lore in this game is massive and a lot of it fractured and cryptic in nature. If you feel like I've missed something or you want to give your own 2 cents on the matter, feel free to let me know down in the comment section so we can all grow wiser.
Very well, let us both learn together.
The night sky seems to play an important role in Elden Ring. Everywhere you look you can see remnants of stargazing, people mining for space debris, a large moon looming over the landscape, and a fearsome demigod who quite literally held the stars in place with his power over gravity. What a badass. As is common in high fantasy, the universe of Elden Ring does not function like our own, and we can find many clues from the story writers which give some more insight. Among the starting classes in Elden Ring is the Astrologer, who are said to be one of the first to study the stars and are also the precursors to the present-day sorcerers from the Academy of Raya Lucaria. The ancient astrologers discovered that beyond the stars of the night sky lies a vast, dark sea of nothingness, which they called the Primeval Current. It's also described as a lightless void or an abyss on some occasions. It is believed that within this void, all life exists as one, a sort of singularity that holds all of life's infinite possibilities. From the void, stars and other celestial bodies are born, and these bodies hold fragments of these possibilities, also described as residual life. The astrologers theorized that the very stars themselves are essentially living beings, life in a primordial form, yet holding a profound wisdom and faint cognition. This cognition is also referred to as the wisdom of stone. Some of these celestial bodies or pieces of it will eventually rain down on the surface, and when they collide, the residual life inside fractures and evolves, giving rise to diverse and more complex life forms. This process is exemplified by some of the creatures you may have encountered in the lands between. There's Astal, which is said to be a malformed star born in the lightless void far away, the falling star beasts found inside craters, the Alabasters, which are described as a race of ancients who said to have risen to life when a meteor struck long ago, and then there's the Crystallians. These creatures are inorganic yet are alive somehow, and according to the Shattering Crystal spell, they are revered guests of the sorcerers because they are the living proof of the wisdom of stone and the ideals of the Primeval Current. The sorcerers in Elden Ring are essentially the scientists of this world. They study the cosmos at the Raya Lucaria Academy, or Hogwarts as I like to call it, and their magic practice, which is referred to as sorcery, is derived from glintstone, pieces of crystallized space debris that have rained down on the lands between since time immemorial, and are said to house the very same residual life I spoke about before. These stones are mined from caves or craters and used to fashion and perfect spells, and the better your understanding of the cosmos, the more powerful your spells become. This is why sorcery spells and weapons are commonly tied to the intelligence attribute. Some saw the Primeval Current as the holy grail of knowledge and sorcery. Those obsessed with the abyss even went as far as to replace parts of their body, or in some cases most of it, with glintstone crystals. They believed that through regression they could harness the wisdom of stone and unravel the mysteries of the abyss and draw their magic from it, also known as Primeval Current sorcery, which became a controversial and forbidden practice in the eyes of the Academy. The current was apparently seen as something not to be tampered with. At least 3 people, including 2 headmasters, have actually been banished from the Academy for practicing this forbidden rite. Now, there is no text in the game that outright confirms that the Primeval Current is the origin of all life in the universe, but there is one piece of dialogue that at least hints at this being the case. It's from an NPC who's tied to the questline that leads to the Frenzied Flame ending, and well, just listen to what she has to say.
All that there is came from the one great. Then came fractures, and births, and souls. But the greater will made a mistake. Torment, despair, affliction, every sin, every curse, every one born of the mistake. And so, what was borrowed must be returned, melted all away with the yellow chaos flame, until all is one again.
So, to break it down, she says that all there is came from the One Great, and what was borrowed must one day return until all is one again. That sounds an awful lot like the primeval current, so I'm guessing that she's probably talking about the same thing. Followers of the Frenzied Flame seem to believe that life as it exists now is a mistake, full of pain, suffering, and division, and would rather see everything and everyone disappear into the void from whence it came. Which is exactly what happens when you choose the Frenzied Flame ending. If my interpretation are correct, it means that those who study the cosmos essentially discovered the true origin of life itself. Problem is, this discovery and ideology is in direct opposition to the greater will and the system it has created. The greater will is a being classified as an outer god, and is responsible for the creation of the Elden Ring as well as the Earth Tree. What outer gods are exactly is not entirely clear. It's some sort of invisible divine presence, likely far beyond human comprehension. Call it cosmic or interdimensional, it's clear that it's a being that operates from outside reality as we know it, hence the outer part. It's very Lovecraftian, which is definitely nothing new for a Soulsborne title. And yes, there's more than one outer god present in the lands between. At least 6 or 7 are theorized to exist, each with their own goals and motivations. However, only 2 or possibly 3 have an actual impact on the ending of the story, and the Frenzied Flame is one of them. The Greater Will happens to be the one with the most power and influence in the lands between at the time the story takes place. But it wasn't always like that. It is said that long ago it sent a golden star into the lands between carrying one of its representatives, the Elden Beast, which is also the final boss. And after its arrival it started establishing its own order. Many of its followers are highly religious. Their system of belief, also known as the Golden Order, is based on the idea that the Greater Will is the one true God, and anything that contradicts that belief is deemed heresy.
That is a work of heresy. Its incantations bear no lineage from the Earth Tree.
It's a system that, although based on the concept of order, is also extremely intolerant. Ever since its inception, it's been at war with everyone around it, even enacting near genocide in some cases. Those who stood against the House of the Earth Tree or posed a threat in any way were either wiped out, forced into exile, or converted their beliefs. And with every victory, the influence of the Greater Will grew until it had little to no adversaries left. The only reason why the Academy escaped a similar fate was because of an unexpected marriage. The marriage between the acting governor of the Academy, Queen Rennala, and a prominent champion of the Earth Tree, Radahn of the Golden Order, who allegedly fell in love on the battlefield. Because of this, an unusual alliance was formed between the two. Ranni was born from the marriage between Rennala and Radahn, and grew up among the sorcerers during this alliance. Over time, she grew to despise the Greater Will and all it stands for. Her heart lay with the moon and the stars, and did not want to be controlled by a god that rules with an iron fist. Even since before the shattering of the Elden Ring, she had secretly been scheming to bring about a new order, one that would replace the Greater Will entirely. It's also revealed that Ranni had a secret mentor. We don't know much about her, but she is described as a snow witch. Now, when the term witch is used in Elden Ring, it's usually not meant to be positive. This isn't like the Harry Potter universe where males are wizards and females are witches. For example, one of the people I mentioned who were kicked from the Academy was Selen, an NPC who seems friendly at first until you realize what she's done. Turns out that she is also extremely obsessed with primeval current sorcery, even going as far as to kill fellow students and experimenting on them, fusing their bodies into one giant mass. After being banished from the Academy and going into hiding, she was given the nickname the Graven Witch. I don't necessarily think that the Snow Witch had the same malicious intent, but the fact that she's labeled as a witch does suggest that she was at least practicing magic that was deemed controversial or dangerous in the world of sorcery. It's also stated that she taught Ranni to, quote, fear the dark moon. Hence, it's highly likely that her secret mentor is the one who set Ranni on her path to bring about the Age of the Stars. Ranni's questline essentially sees you helping her in tying up the final loose ends to make her new age become a reality. This is also why she was so invested in the underground cities of Nokstella and Nokron. Those who built these cities were driven underground and exiled when they rebelled against the Greater Will. Not only did they develop a weapon capable of hurting the Greater Will, but just like the sorcerers, they had a deep connection with the cosmos. Quote, long ago, the Nox invoked the ire of the Greater Will and were banished deep underground. Now they live under a false sky in eternal anticipation of their liege, of the coming age of the stars and their Lord of Night. When you stand before the Elden Ring and have completed Ranni's questline, instead of restoring the Elden Ring and ensuring the survival of the Greater Will, you can instead summon Ranni's spirit, after which she dissolves the Elden Ring and ushers in her new age. But what exactly is the Age of the Stars? And what does it mean for the future of the lands between? Well, let's listen to what she has to say.
I thought I might expound a little further upon the order I envision. Mine will be an order not of gold, but the stars and moon of the chill night. I would keep them far from the earth beneath our feet. As it is now, life and souls and order are bound tightly together. But I would have them at a great remove, and have the certainties of sight, emotion, faith, and touch all become impossibilities, which is why I would abandon this soil with mine order. Wouldst thou come to me even now, my one and only Lord?
The way I interpret it is that Ranni is creating a universe closer to that of our own. She says that she will keep the stars and moon far away from the Earth, implying that before the Age of the Stars they exist at a much closer proximity. I don't know if that's true, I mean, they seem pretty far away. Then again, the fact that they constantly invade the lands between also speaks volumes. Like she says, under the Greater Will, life, souls, and order are bound together, which is true, it's right there, right there. Believing in God is not exactly hard when it and its rules are literally staring you right in the face. In her age, there will be life, there will still be order, but that order will be so far removed from mankind that absolute faith and knowledge of its existence will become an impossibility, creating doubts, fear, and loneliness. And I don't want to get too philosophical, but it is kind of like our reality. As far as we know, at least right now, we are alone in the cosmos, with a lot of doubts, fears of what happens when we die, and questions of where we came from and why we even exist. Some suggest that the dark moon she mentions is yet another outer god, but I honestly have my doubts about that. I couldn't find any text that specifically says that the dark moon is an outer god. Not to mention, it kinda goes against what Ranni stands for. I mean, she purposely rid herself of her Empyrean body for the exact reason of not wanting to be bound to an outer god anymore. To free herself from those shackles and walk her own path. A path that leads into the dark abyss of the cosmos. And the Lord of Night mentioned before likely refers to you, the protagonist, because in every ending you become the Lord of something. Elden Lord, Lord of Chaos, and in this case you become Ranni's Lord, as you set off into the cosmos together. My current take is that the dark moon is supposed to be symbolic, a harbinger if you will. If you look at the landscape of the lands between, there's two prominent entities that stick out. The Erdtree and right next to it, a moon. A moon on the verge of turning dark, perhaps meant as a sign that the age of the Erdtree is coming to a close and the age of the stars is about to commence. If you choose that ending, of course. Whether or not you found this to be a good ending really depends on your point of view. Do you think it's better to have God right there in front of you, dictating your every move? Or would you rather embrace ignorance and the mysteries of the universe? Or maybe you just want to press that history eraser button. Be sure to let me know which ending you find the most satisfying. I skipped over a lot of details when it comes to Ranni herself and her backstory because, well, that could easily take up an entire video on its own. Luckily, there just so happens to be a certain bandit I know who made an amazing video on that exact topic. So if you will, please go and check it out. Ranni has one of the most interesting and equally mysterious character stories in the entire game, so it'll no doubt be worth your time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you found my first Elden Ring theory to be entertaining. A big thanks to Wes and Sabrina for joining my Patreon, and to Wavery and Ashley Hall for becoming a channel member. You guys are amazing. I must apologize for the time it took me to make this video. Elden Ring lore is a lot more complicated and convoluted than Zelda lore. It was honestly a bit overwhelming. I may have also been hopelessly addicted to playing the game the past weeks, which wasn't exactly great for productivity either, but hey, at least I had a good time with it. And that is all for now. This is Dawn signing off, and have a good one.